Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. So today is day number 4 of the referendum. The bad news first. Today in Russia, central Russia, there was a school shooting. 15 dead, 11 of them children, 24 wounded. There were children that were injured, breaking their arms and legs, jumping out of windows. Parents were receiving text messages and phone calls from their children saying, "Goodbye, Mom, I love you." This is only the second. The shooter wound up shooting himself in the head. He was wearing a black hoodie with a swastika on it. There's only been one other school shooting in Russia that I can recall, and that's been decades ago. Do I think that there is a correlation between the referendum going on now and this shooting? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially with the guy having a swastika on his chest. Yeah, absolutely. This is what neo-Nazis do. Anyway. Also, at a recruitment center, one of the recruits shot the recruitment officer. All right, if you don't want to go, desert. Take your time in jail. You're going to wind up there anyway. Yeah, I mean, now you're guilty of attempted murder and treason. That's what you will be convicted of. The recruitment officer is in critical care. All right. Anyway, as of yesterday, and Donetsk, they had reached 77 at a total of 77% of registered voters eligible to take part in this. In Luhansk, 76%. I believe in Zaporozhye it was 51%, and Kherson, as of yesterday, was at 49%. Officially, it only has to be above 50%, but the higher the better, of course. Contrary to what the West is saying, people can vote against, rejoining Russia. In fact, a journalist asked one person, "How did you vote to stay part of Ukraine?" Well, did anything happen to you? No. It is the person's own choice. Now, I did finally get to see the actual ballot, and it's pretty dang simple. Do you want to rejoin Russia? Yes or no? That's it. It's a yes or no. 2 giant boxes and you just check one. That's it. And they're so large and so far apart. Yeah, you're not going to have any hanging chads or anything like that, like in America. Oh, we can't read this one. Look at a big giant X there. Anyway, Ukraine has made some advances in the Luhansk region in the last couple of days. Taken over a few small towns. Now, a few things I want to note about this is that a lot of the armed forces are busy providing security, to make sure that people taking part in the referendum are safe. So you might have taken some people away from the front lines, at least foot soldiers. You're not taking heavy artillery away. But Luhansk also has had a lot fewer soldiers guarding it than the other regions have. It is less strategically important. If Russia wants to take it back, well, they will. So they're going after the least populated, the least guarded areas that have very little strategic importance. Most of the manufacturing capacity for these regions are in Donetsk and Zaporozhye and Kherson, and then Zaporozhye and Kherson also have port access. So that just makes sense. And if you look at a map, well, even if they take over all of Luhansk, well, you got Donetsk jutting out over here, and then you got Russia coming around. So Russia will have that area encircled on three sides. So go ahead and take it. We'll be back. Is Russia a nuclear threat? Okay, first, Putin did not make the initial statement on this. That was Biden. Putin has only responded. And it was intended this way. It's like, well, let's make a little statement about it. And then when he responds, then we can blow it out of the water. And that's what has happened. What Putin has actually, okay, Biden and Blinken are saying, oh, well, if Russia uses nuclear weapons and we... Putin said that Russia will use any means in their power to defend themselves. If you listen closely to Putin actually speaking, which they're only going to show you this one little clip with him saying, I am not bluffing. That's the only part you're going to see on Western media. You are not going to hear the entire speech. So after Biden starts talking about nuclear weapons, out of the blue, what Putin actually said, more assertively than he usually does, but he said, we will defend ourselves by whatever means necessary using all the tools in our arsenal, at our disposal. I am not bluffing. Well, that's a very understandable statement under the circumstances. Remember, the United States was saying, chemical weapons, or if Assad uses chemical weapons, that's a red line. And 2 or 3 days later, there's a chemical weapon attack in Syria, and there was never an OPCW investigation on the ground into that. Then later, if Assad uses chemical weapons, that's a red line. Like the next day, there's an alleged chlorine attack, something like that. And the OPCW inspectors that did respond on the ground said there had been no attack. And that the alleged evidence from the white helmets was fabricated. These were professionals. These were professionals. Of course, it got covered up by the OPCW. But in both cases, both of these cases, Syria got bombed with U.S. missiles. So, is Biden talking about the use of nuclear weapons the most foolish red flag? And, I mean, think about that danger. Think about that danger. And think about his dementia in conjunction with that. Anyway, I was correct. By the way, if you really listen carefully to what Putin had to say, what he really said was just reiterating what Russia's nuclear policy is. They will use nuclear weapons in response to a first strike. Russia has a no first strike policy. The United States does not. Or if Russia, as an entity, as a country, is at risk of no longer existing. Back in the 1950s, the United States had an active working plan to drop 300 nuclear weapons on major Soviet cities, followed by 250,000 tons of conventional weapons, and then a ground invasion. Russia is not, they were going to send U.S. troops into a radiation zone. Russia wouldn't be doing that. They're not going to call up a mobilization and then use nuclear weapons and poison their own people. They're not going to do that. I mean, they withdrew from the Kherson region to save their people. Where the West talks about lines on a map, sovereignty and all this crap, Putin talks about, I want to keep my people safe. I want to keep the people in the Donbass safe. That's what he's talking about. You listen to what the difference is. You know, Zelensky, sovereignty. The United States, sovereignty. They're talking about lines on a map. They're not talking about human beings. It's all a power game. And they don't care who dies in the process. Anyway, so yes, I was right. Of the 300,000 that have been called up, 120,000 of them have gotten out within the past year. And so most of these guys are still in good physical condition. I think mostly it's going to be physical exam, physical fitness test, maybe put them through a couple weeks of exercise if they're falling out of shape. Gear them up and send them on. Because they're already in shape. They already know the latest technology that they're going to be using. They know everything that they need to know. And that's why I say, well, Russia might retake any areas lost up in Luhansk and the Kharkov regions. You send 60,000 of the troops, of the 120,000 up there, and then you spread out the rest along the rest of the lines, just as reinforcements and replacements fill in the holes, and you're doing pretty good there. And just wait for the other 180,000 to arrive. And I do not believe that it's going to be December or anything before they're there. I do not believe that at all. You know, those 120,000 may well, you know, most of them may already be on their way over there, but obviously Russia's not going to talk about it. Just let it be a surprise. Again, there are monitors on the ground that are watching the referendum from at least 6 different countries. There are monitors and journalists from, I think, 28 different countries that are documenting all of this. So, you know, obviously how it gets presented in the media that they represent can vary widely. But, all right, so this referendum is almost at its end. Tomorrow is the last day, and I expect that before noon on Wednesday, these regions will be declared part of Russia, and it'll go through the lower house, the upper house, to Putin's desk. Putin will fax the information over to Kiev and pick up the phone. Hey, you want to talk now? So, again, it has been Russia that is talking about negotiations, and it is still Zelensky that is refusing to negotiate. It is still America that is refusing to negotiate. And America is saying, well, if they take these areas back into Russia, then there won't be any more diplomatic contact. There hasn't been any diplomatic contact since March. The United States hasn't been talking to Russia since March. Neither, they cut off diplomatic conversation at the same time that Zelensky did. You know, so that doesn't mean anything. That's not a threat. Meanwhile, in the UN, there's a big move going on right now in the UN General Assembly to remove a lot of the power or completely dismantle the UN Security Council. I'm very much in favor of that. So, yeah, let's see how that turns out. I'm hoping that becomes a thing. Just get rid of the Security Council. All right. Let's hope that the results of this referendum will, be done, and it will lead to peace talks within days. Let's hope. Cross your fingers with me. Hope, pray. And let's just keep on hoping. Anyway, share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can afford it, please donate whatever you can to help expand this channel and my presidential campaign. And I will catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching.